Hey everyone, welcome back to the series where I stitch one square out of the Granny Square Stitches card deck every week, all throughout the year. And this is week number 5. So what have we done so far? We have done the single crochet, the half double crochet, the double crochet, which had a row of single in there too, and then the half double in between. So this week we're taking the concept of the half double in between and applying it-ish to a single crochet, and this is called the linen stitch, also called the moss stitch. And this is a really great stitch, like when it's multicolored like this, looks fabulous, but also as a solid color. So this is just a swatch of a yarn that I had brought in just to kind of play with. And this is what the linen stitch slash moss stitch looks like in a single color. So you get this beautiful, almost like a basket weave kind of look because the stitches are sitting in between each other. When it's done colorfully like this, it's really stunning, and you get these sort of vertical rows of color. And looking at this, I realized that I need one more color, because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors, and I only picked out 5. I might just do it with 5 colors. Do I even have a red? I don't have a red. I'm just going to stick with the 5 colors. I kind of like this color palette. Like, isn't this fun? Okay, so the colors I have chosen for today. I have dark denim, lime, lemon ice, peach pink, and coral. I think, so right now, this is an aside. I like to do asides. Right now, the color palette is just bringing me into spring. I think by the end of the year, it's going to be a little weird, but also it's going to be fun and colorful and bright. And by the time we finish it, it's going to be like Christmas time. So that'll be a nice little boost to our winter doldrums. Anyways, that was very off topic. So moss stitch. Let's get started. So like I said, I have 5 colors. The card uses 6, but we're not going to worry about that. This one we are starting with 18 chains, and then we are following the chart, working 1 row stripes of yarns A through F as shown. So I have A through E. We can make adjustments. This is what learning how to crochet is all about, learning how to make adjustments. Okay, so taking a look at the stitch chart. Let me just zoom in. The moss stitch or linen stitch is very simple in that once you have developed your base, it is a single crochet and a chain and a single crochet. And then your next row, you single crochet into your chains and chain over top of your single crochets. So you get this staggered effect with your stitches. So if you look, I know when it's in a stripe like that, it looks like the stitches are landing on top of each other. But if you look at each row, you see how they are staggered. And that's how you get, in a solid swatch, they're staggered. Done in, so this is a sport weight yarn, and I think I used maybe a 4 or 4.5 millimeter crochet hook. I wanted to make the fabric nice and loose and have a good drape. And so this is really good and stretchy. So if you're looking for a stitch pattern that is solid but has nice drape, this is a really good stitch pattern. Also really good if you use a smaller, like a crochet hook that's designed for your yarn. It will give a nice stiff fabric. So really great in cottons for washcloths and that kind of thing, because it's solid. It's just a good fabric for washing things with. Anyways, let's get started. So I think I'm going to start with a coral. Because I'm only using 5 colors, I might not end with the coral for my border, but we'll deal with that when we get to it. Okay, let's take a look at the card The instructions say make 18 chains and then follow the chart. So the chart, this is our row of chains along the bottom here, all these oval circles. And then you see how there's one that's off to the side here. Sorry, let's get that back in frame. There's one that's off to the side. That is like your turning chain. And then you're going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and then every chain all the way down. And then you're changing color here. And then you are chaining, making one chain with your new color. And then you're going to follow the chart. And we'll deal with the chart when we get to that. So right now, I need to make 18 chains. So I'm going to put a slip knot on my hook, insert my hook, and we're going to make 18 chains. Okay, that's 18. Now, just like before, I'm going to work into my back bumps so I have a nice finished edge to do my border around or into. There's my first chain, my first bump. So I'm going to single crochet into my second chain. And then I'm going to single crochet into every chain all the way to the end. When I get to the end, I'm going to change color. At my second to last chain, so we're going to do a single crochet in this second to last chain, and then in my last chain I'm going to start a single crochet. So I'm going to insert my hook and draw through a loop. And while I have 2 loops on my hook, I'm going to drop my color A and I'm going to grab my color B. I have just decided to go in the order that I had them laid out, so we'll just see what that looks like. Okay, so with my color B on my hook, I'm just going to take my A and wrap it around my hook to sort of secure it in place, and then chain 1 with my color B. And just tug on those ends to sort of tighten everything there. I'm going to turn my work. Now let's look at the chart. I'm just going to put that to one side for a second. So we're here. So we've done our chain. Now we need to single crochet in the first stitch, and then we're going to chain 1 and skip a stitch and single crochet in the next stitch and repeat. So I'm going to single crochet in that first stitch. I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to skip this next stitch, and I'm going to single crochet in the stitch after. I'm going to chain 1, skip the next stitch, single crochet in the stitch after. Chain 1, skip a stitch, single crochet. And just keep doing this all the way to the end, and again we're going to change color at the end. Now I have left my color attached. I'm not convinced that I can pull it up at the other end, but I thought I would just leave it attached and see what happens. With so many colors, the strings up the side might be too long, so I'll just deal with that when we get there. But for now, I haven't cut any colors. Okay, so I'm skipping my second to last stitch and then putting a single crochet in my last stitch. Okay, so I have insert, pulled up a loop, and now I'm pausing and I'm going to grab my next color. Just get a little bit of length going there. Grab my next color, lay it on my hook, draw it through those 2 stitches. And then I can chain with my new color, pull everything tight, turn my work. And that is the repeat pattern basically. Let's just take a look at the chart again. So now we're on this side. I've chained. I'm going to single crochet in my first stitch. Now this time I am going to single crochet into the chain space, the next chain space, and then I'm going to chain and skip the single crochet beneath. So let's take a look at what that looks like. Give myself some slack here. Okay, I have chained and I'm going to single crochet in that first stitch. And now we're at chain space. Let's take a look at this close up, because the first time I did a moss stitch, I found it very confusing to know where I was supposed to put my single crochets, like what was a single crochet and what was a chain. So, stitch time anatomy. You see how there's two little legs coming out of a hole? That is a single crochet. Make sure we're nice and focused. So two little legs coming out of a hole, that's a single crochet. And now we've got this sort of gap here. That's our chain space. And then we've got two little legs coming out of a single crochet. Okay, so two little legs coming out of a space, that's our single crochet. And then we've got this gap next to it. And then we got two little legs coming out of a hole, that's our single crochet. So when we are working the linen stitch / moss stitch, we need to be putting our single crochets in these gaps. So I have single crocheted in my first stitch, and now I need to single crochet in this chain space. So I'm going in between my two single crochets. So I've got the legs there and the legs there, and I'm going in between in that space, making a single crochet. I'm going to chain one to kind of hop over this single crochet, and then I'm going to single crochet in this next gap. Chain one, find my next gap, single crochet in there. Chain one, skip over my single crochet, find my chain one space, and make a single crochet. Chain one, and repeat. So now I'm at the end. I'm going to put a single crochet in that last chain one space. I'm not going to chain one at the end though. If you look at our chart, bring it up here for you again, we've got two little single crochets next to each other. So this is the single crochet I just made in that last chain one space, and now I'm going to single crochet in my last stitch, and I'm changing color in that stitch again. So I'm going to insert into that last stitch, pull up a loop, and then grab my next color, lay it on my hook, pull it through. So this time, where's my yellow? Okay, so I'm going to pull up my yellow and just sort of tighten that there. And then I can chain one with my new color. Just give all these a tug. So if we take a look here, I have got, this is attached to my color A, and then this one is color C. So bringing up color A, by the time we get back to this side, we're going to be one more row. I might be able to do it. The border will hide a fair amount. We'll see. This was going to be one of those, it's your call, your square, you decide. If you want to cut off all these ends and weave them all in, go for it. If you're lazy like me and you want to just pull them up the side and try and hide them with a border, do that too. Okay, so we're going to turn our work, and then this row is going to be a repeat of row number 2. So we're going to single crochet in our first stitch. We're going to chain one because we've got a single crochet there, so we need to hop over that. We're going to find our next chain one space and put a single crochet in that. Chain one, single crochet in the chain one space. I got my last chain one to hop over this last single or second to last single crochet, and then I can single crochet in my last stitch. And we're going to do our final color change here. If you are following the colors from the picture on the front, then you will have one more color change because you'll have 6 colors. I have just got 5. All right, so now we are going to repeat row 3 where we had the 2 single crochets next to each other. So we're going to single crochet in the first stitch. Next is our chain space, so we're going to single crochet in our chain space, chain 1, hop over that single crochet, find our next chain 1 space, and single crochet in there. Chain 1, hop, single crochet in the chain 1 space. All the way to the end. At the end of this, we should have 2 single crochets next to each other, just like we did in row number 3. So that's my single crochet in my last chain 1 space, and then I'm going to single crochet in my last stitch, and I need to change color again. And now I need to decide if I'm going to pull up my color A all the way up to here, or if I'm going to cut it off and reattach. So let's see what it looks like. I'm going to drop my blue, I'm going to pull up my coral and pull it through. There's not that much of a string, so I think we're going to be okay. But if you feel like you want to just cut off all your ends at the end of each row and reattach, you go for it. I just really hate weaving in ends. Okay, so moving forward, I just need to get my blue sort of out of the way here. Now I am going to have a giant tangle of yarn, which I will deal with in a little bit. But let's start our pattern. So we're going to single crochet. My next stitch is a single crochet. So I'm going to chain 1 to hop over it and find my next chain 1 space. When you are doing pattern repeats like this, if you don't want to constantly have to check your chart and see which row you're on and figure it all out, look for visual cues. Yeah, here's my yarn tangle dilemma. So in this pattern, you never single crochet into a single crochet except at the beginning and the end of each row. You're always single crocheting into chain spaces and hopping over your single crochets with a chain. So those are your visual cues at the beginning of each row. If after your very first single crochet you have a chain space, then you know you need to single crochet into it. If after your very first single crochet of the row you have a single crochet, you know you need to do a chain 1 and hop over that and find your next chain space for your single crochet. I hope that makes sense. Okay, I'm going to hop over that one and make a single crochet in my last stitch. I need to find my color B. That's this peach pink. Pull it up. Get all of my tails out of the way. And single crochet. So here I have a chain space. So we are always single crocheting into chain spaces. So that's what I need to do. Chain 1, hop over the next single crochet, single crochet. So that is the pattern. That's a 2 row repeat pattern. And you're just changing color with every row. So I am going to continue on. I think you guys can probably handle this. I am going to change color with every row. I'm going to take a moment to detangle all of my yarn. So here at the end, I have a chain space and then my last single crochet. So I know I need to have sort of 2 single crochets next to each other. Okay, so I'm going to continue on until it is basically square. Let's see. We have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Looks like, yeah, 16 rows. So I'm going to continue working on this, and I will come back and we'll do the border together. That is the end of row 16. So I think I am ready to start my border. First, I need to cut off all my ends. I have an unholy tangle here. So I don't want to cut off. I'm going to keep going with the coral that I was using, but all the other colors I can cut off. And then we'll come to the other side, cut off the two colors over there. And then take a moment and get all your other yarns out of the way. So now all I have to deal with is my coral, and I can start my border. So I managed to pull out my last stitch. So I need a single crochet in that last stitch. I'm going to chain one, turn, and now we're working on the border, so I'm going to put one single crochet in each stitch and chain space all the way down. Here in my last stitch, I'm going to put a single crochet, a chain one, which I am going to mark with a stitch marker. And then another single crochet right back into that same stitch. And now I can come down my side. So a couple of things as we're coming down the side. Because we have these longer floats, I want to make sure that I catch them all. I'm not worried about my tails. I can sew my tails in later, but I don't want to have floats hanging out along, like visible on the edge when I'm done. Now we basically have done 16 rows of single crochet, so we should have 16 single crochet stitches down the side, one per row. So I've already got one for that top row. Come into the next row, and I'm just going to find nice sort of open spaces for me to put my hook. And when I have floats like this, I make sure that I am coming beneath them and I'm checking front and back, make sure I'm catching all the floats. It does mean that my single crochet stitches are going to be coming sort of deeper into the fabric of the square than normal, but it will be worth it in the end because I will have caught all these kind of ugly floats. Now, if you're doing the math and you remember some of the other squares we've done where we had like 13 or 14 single crochets along the side, there's going to be more stitches for this square in total, like around the edge, which will complicate things when we go to sew everything together. It's not the end of the world though. When I get there, I can go over how I fudge things. All right, we are down at our next corner. So I'm going to find basically my first chain, put single crochet in there, chain one. I'm going to mark that chain one again, and then single crochet into that same chain. And now I can just put a single crochet along the bottom row and repeat up the side. The reason I'm putting in these stitch markers is so that I can easily identify my chain one spaces for my second round of the border where I need to work into them. So I'm going to continue on. I'm going to finish up, and I will join you back when I am starting round two. See you then. I'm back at the beginning. Excuse me. So we need to put, we did a single crochet there. We need to chain 1 and then find our first single crochet and slip stitch to it. 1 more stitch marker in that chain 1. Oopsies. So that's what I have right now. I've got all my tails hanging out. I'm not worried about that. I see no floats visible on this side. Let's see if I managed to catch them all on the back. Yes, it looks like I did. So, hallelujah. Okay, now to do round number 2. So I slip stitched to my first single crochet, and to start the next round, I'm just going to chain 1. And then I'm going to go right back into that first single crochet with a single crochet. So each stitch gets a single crochet. When we get to our stitch markers, which is our corner stitches, and in fact the chain 1 in our corner stitch, we are going to single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, all into that chain 1 space. So let's finish this, and then I can show you on the first corner, and then I'll let you go to do the rest of it on your own. So I'm at my first corner. I'm going to single crochet into the first single crochet of my corner. Now I'm where my stitch marker is. I'm just going to take out my stitch marker. So that is my chain 1. That's my next single crochet. So into this space here, which is awkward to see, but you're basically going to stick your hook in the space. You're going to single crochet, chain 1, and single crochet. And now I can come down the other side, single crocheting into each stitch. I don't need to put my stitch marker back in there because that's done, that corner, and yeah, so I can put that away. Okay, so continue on doing that around all 4 sides in all the corners, and I will meet you back when we're ready to do our last corner. Okay, I'm in my last corner, so I'm just finishing up my single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. Now I can take my hook out and pull my yarn through the loop. We're going to be doing our invisible join. So I put my yarn onto a yarn needle. I'm going to skip that first stitch. Make sure we're in focus. Skip the first stitch. We're going to find the second stitch, go from front to back with our needle, pull our yarn through, and then come back and go straight down the middle of your stitch and out the back. And then you're just going to pull it to manipulate it to make it look like a stitch. Flip it over and weave your yarn, your tail in. So I still have a lot of ends to weave in, but that is our linen stitch, also known as moss stitch square, for week number 5. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you again next week. What are we doing next week? Ooh, this one is called the paired single crochet. That looks like a fun one. See you then. Bye-bye.